This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Hi guys, welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Thursday, October 24th. I'm here with Al, Brandon, Lindsay. I'm Tori. Let's get right to it. For the first time, we're hearing from the victim in the Slender Man stabbing. Peyton Lautner survived being stabbed 19 times by her best friend and another classmate when she was just 12 years old. The two girls claim they did it to please a fictional character named Slender Man. ABC has the exclusive interview with Lautner. Here's a peek.
3 12-year-old girls had a sleepover.
The suspects lured the victim into the woods, and all 3 of the girls are 12 years old.
What did you do then? Stab.
If she saw this interview, what would you want to say to her?
Ooh. Morgan Geyser and Anissa Weir were each sentenced up to 25 years and up to 40 years, respectively, in a mental health institution. One of them was diagnosed with schizophrenia a little bit later in life. But what's so crazy is in this, she says this. This is Peyton says, I would probably initially thank them. I would say just because of what she did, I have the life I have now, and I really, really like it. I have a plan, and I didn't have one at 12. I want to be in the medical field.
Yeah, I mean.
Wow, talk about moving on.
You see what you go through at a young age, and it kind of forms kind of like your career field or your passion, whether you're being bullied and you go and you do service work, community work, when you get older and you get into who you are as an adult. But I encourage every parent out there, and Al, you're our parent on the panel, so I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this. There's a documentary called Beware of Slender Man, and I encourage every parent to watch this because the mother of Anissa Weir said that she was on the iPad. She was checking her daughter's iPad. She was looking for the signs, and this little girl still fell victim to this fictional character. So you as a parent, I know we ask these questions all the time. Like, what is it that parents should do when it comes to monitoring these kids?
I don't look at it so much as monitoring. I look at it more as like having a bond and having an issue. I feel like if kids are just smaller people. They're not this like strange alien that we're trying to figure out. So I would like to think, at least hope that as much time as we spend in this room on this panel together and outside of work, that if Brandon was going through something, or Lindsay was going through something, I would know. And the way you know that is by knowing them on more than a surface area level. So just asking your kid, like, how was school? Fine. Right. You have homework? No. What are you doing this weekend? I don't know.
Al,
and then let them go to the room. You don't know your kid, and this is how it happens.
I just want to say that they said that they talked about Slender Man endlessly, and so that they wanted to believe they think is real. If you had a bond with your kid, you might have picked up on that discussion because they said it was all over school.
And Peyton said there were signs in between, like she met the young girl and thought she was isolated, had no friends. Geyser, she went over to befriend her, being a good person. So she talked to her mom about these experiences and also said that this woman this young girl kept bringing up Slender Man over and over again, getting fixated and addicted, then maybe we'd be able to stop this a little bit earlier.
And this isn't stopping now. We're in 2019. You go on YouTube, and some of these Slender Man parodies or some of these Slender Man videos still have over 5 million views on YouTube.
It's very active right now, so parents, please beware. Grandparents, please beware. Even if your kid is talking about Slender Man, it's something you want to look at, and there's a documentary, again, Beware the Slender Man. Yep. Well, we have some heart-stopping video we want to show you. 2 people pushing a stroller are lucky to be alive. Look at this. Oh! After a car comes through, barreling the intersection, completely running the red light, they are saved when another driver turns left in the nick of time. Now, if you slow down the video, you can just see how close a call this was, okay? Here we go. Here's the car at the very end. Thankfully, everyone is okay, and the driver who ran the red light is now facing charges. He did try to leave the area. They found a weapon in his car, so glad that that person is off the streets.
This is just so scary to me. My dad was hit by a wrong-way driver, a DUI driver, going the wrong way on the highway 2 years ago. And that was the sign for me. I know we all joke around about drinking and driving, but that was the sign when it's like, just stop. Uber, like Al and I talked about earlier, is $5. And to know this guy got arrested for DUI charges is really just reckless. He almost killed an entire family.
Yeah, I think it was like so telling because if you look at that video, it's what they say about when you drink and drive. Your reactions are delayed.
Slower, yeah.
And you notice his brake lights came on in the middle of the intersection, right there.
Oh, interesting.
And so that's what it is. He realized it was a red light, but he realized it's
too late.
3 seconds too late, and that's what happens. You almost run over a family of 3, and instead, best case scenario, you hit a car going the other way. I mean, what a scary situation. Do better.
That's 3 lives are almost taken because there was 2 adults and a baby in the stroller. But I look at this guy should get like this should be an attempted murder charge since you've already had prior DUIs.
Well, he'll get the
well, this is a conversation. Oh, this is like a video we show and just move on. But like, is this an attempted murder charge if we do look at alcoholism as a disease? Is this a person? What if he was suffering an epileptic seizure? Will we do the same thing?
Complex.
So it's a little bit more complex. So I wonder.
That's interesting. Well, a California representative finding herself under investigation right now. Katie Hill is apologizing for being in a throuple relationship with a female staffer and her husband. She said the relationship was inappropriate only because it involved a young subordinate who worked on her campaign. She's now being investigated by the House Committee on Ethics. And for those that don't know, and I'm sure that's many of you, what is a throuple? A throuple is 3 partners in a romantic or sexual relationship. So I'm going to be open here and just say I have no issue if you're in a throuple or a quadruple or a cinquuple.
I thought you were about to say something else. I'm sorry. I was like, we are honest on this show.
Because she ran as openly bisexual, Katie Hill. There's no problem with me with that. They were consenting adults. It's the idea of work and HR and subordinate people that you're dating.
She should get in front of this. She got in front of the story only because it came out. And I just think that if her constituents knew that she was in a relationship as a throuple, then maybe they wouldn't be for it. A YouGov poll says that 80% of people who think religion is super important say that polyamory, which is basically what this is not okay with them.
Is that any of their business, though?
But I think letting them know, then the voters would decide, right?
But why is it their business to know her private life?
I think that's why we vote, right? We have a democracy.
Or is it because of policies that are in the public life?
No, you see celebrities being transparent with their lives now. Politics is now kind of considered a form of entertainment, let's be honest. And if Pete Buttigieg is going to go out and talk about how he's in a gay marriage and he's the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, why can't she come out and say that? You know,
she did run openly as bisexual. I just don't think you need to say to someone, I'm in a throuple, because that's a private business.
Yes, Tori, in theory, but we're here in the real world, and unfortunately, even though I completely agree with what you're saying, people we always say, separation of church and state. I call nonsense on that, and I want to use another word. We both know that every politician will openly talk about their faith. We've never had a president, as far as I know, that's been unmarried.
James Buchanan.
Oh, what a... I knew there was one, but people want their politicians to be in a relationship they can identify with and a religion they can identify with. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Well, then let me ask you a question. Does that mean I have to give up fetishes? Because what if you have a weird BDSM? Do you have to tell people about that private life?
If not, if you want to get elected.
There you go.
But I'm all for it.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people, 50 Shades of Grey is a huge movie. That's BDSM.
I loved 50 Shades of Grey. I love
This is unfortunate. I know we got to move on. This is unfortunate because she was deemed one of the most powerful freshmen in Congress, and Nancy Pelosi has taken her under the wing. So obviously she has policy, but now she has to get behind or get in front of this what is perceived as a scandal.
The throuple. Yep. All right. Well, someone just forked over a ton of cash, paying nearly $1 million for a parking spot in this high-rise building in Hong Kong.
Was it me?
It wasn't you, Al. The spot is in front of the building. Thanks for that detail, I would hope. It's $1 million.
Exactly. That's a great point.
It's in front of the building.
It's parking level 4, block and a half away.
You would get blocked by someone.
Because the owners of the building actually one of them had 4 spots and sold them all for 6 figures, and this one for almost 7 figures. Wow. And it's just crazy that you own the building and you also think about, I'm going to buy 4 spots, and we all divide that up as the owners. And Hong Kong is the most expensive city to live in, according to several studies. So just who would waste their money on this, though? I don't know.
A person that can swing $1 million.
You would have a chauffeur. Now, that's not a bad idea.
I think it's a great investment, though. though.
No way.
I'll tell you why. As somebody that is in business, your competitors are constantly looking to see if there's a weakness, see if Tori's on her game. When you buy $1 million parking space,
you look
they're
like
oh, you look like you got money like that, and it's not a problem.
Buy an island.
In business,
take a chauffeur. Why not just have a driver?
You think the other people in the city that compete with that business don't realize that he can afford $1 million parking spot?
I think
that's about letting everybody know. That's about letting everybody know money's not a thing. Like Jermaine Dupri.
You better not park in my spot.
Oh yeah.
Forget getting towed. I'm gonna have a monster truck take your car.
Well, DBL is live and coming up. A string of unsolved murders rocks a small town in Kentucky. So the big question is, are they all related? That's in today's True Crime Chronicles. And you, the viewer, are our fifth host. A brand of feminine hygiene products is removing the female symbol from its packaging to be more inclusive of trans customers. Now, is this necessary or just another extreme case of the PC police? Your comments coming up next.
2:30.
Hi guys, it's Kelly Schubert here with the Daily Blast Live digital team. Excuse me. Happy Thursday. We're happy to have you here with us today. Hey, we're gonna go continue the conversation with the table.
And then it goes like to 2.
And then like the next in order is 2, and then the royal
Hey,
family.
guys.
They're
Wait,
all
can
like,
you say this again? Hold on. John, we have a very interesting intake here. This is Chris Clark's.
So when you're in Dubai,
Yeah.
the license plates are in order of status. So the number 1, if you see the car with 1, that's the Sheikh Mohammed.
Isn't that weird?
And then like 2 is the next in line, and then the royal family, they're all like double digits. But then when you get into like higher double digits or triple digits, people sell those license plates for like $1 million because
Just
you
the
want to have a
status?
triple
Status
digit
symbol.
license plate on your car.
What a waste
So
of
it's a
money.
status.
Status is
When we were there, we had the best time.
Jewelry's the same
We had a
thing.
You
whole
don't have
thing.
parking
We were there for a month, and we all went around and we had a bet on who could take a picture of the
one?
lowest number.
Whoa, that's cool.
And one of my editors won, and I think he found the car that was like number 10.
Whoa. Did you Dubai something with that money?
Yeah.
We should do that for DBL. Put it on our desks.
What number
Where are you
would it
going
be?
with this, Brayden?
I think in terms of who's been here the longest.
No.
Out of who,
some
at
people were here
DBL, who would
before
have
the
the
show
one?
actually started.
Sam would have one. Sam's one.
Who had boots on the ground first? I wonder.
Kelly,
Yeah, Kelly.
Rory,
Patty,
Jamie.
Well, we were in the pilot,
That's
so
still here.
Patty and me were in the pilot.
That's
the pilot,
right.
and Sharon.
Sharon would be in the 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah.
What would I do? Don't
Hey,
worry.
guys, I want to continue the conversation on the thruples. I was looking up some statistics online. Millions of people are in a thruple across America. Do you think this is something that she should have told us as she was running?
I think it's none of our business.
None of our business.
She couldn't
I know
because
that's
it
gonna
was
be an
with a
unpopular
subordinate.
Well,
That's
that's
the
true. That's
If
a
it was
problem,
with someone
obviously.
outside of the marriage or outside
But
of
let's
the
leave
work,
that part out.
but she has
If
to
she was
think.
just
just
Does
let
she
people
want to get
know.
out in front of it?
And if people really don't care, if we're that forward
People
thinking,
are gonna care, Lindsay, that
But
they're
I'm just saying, ideally, people don't care. Let people know.
Yeah, but-
People want to know why Cory Booker didn't have a girlfriend for so long, and then he got one. Whether it's
Also,
what it is,
James
I don't know what it is.
Buchanan, many people thought was gay. No one knows, of course, but he had his cousin play First Lady of the White House, James Buchanan.
got it.
The only president not married. Thank you.
DBL Nation, let us.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host when we talk about what you're talking about. Feminine products are rebranding because of a push from the LGBTQ plus community. The brand always just removed the female symbol. You can see it, it's that circle with the plus from its packaging after transgender activists and non-binary consumers threatened to boycott. So DBL Nation, was this change necessary or is it an example of extreme political correctness? Lindsay, go ahead.
All right, Megan from Facebook says, it's ridiculous to remove the female symbol off a feminine hygiene product. Let females have theirs and they can have theirs. I agree because I think that menstruation is a biological function, and so I just think they were overcorrecting and trying to appease everybody instead of just leaving a product as is. And I also question the company's intentions, like, is this a marketing campaign you want to get all the consumers or leave your packaging as is?
Yeah. Gara from Facebook says, this is the right move. There is no such thing as extreme political correctness. This is an example of when you know better, you do better. Gara, thanks for writing in, but I'm going to have to disagree with you and respectfully disagree with you as well, because I feel why not just make 2 boxes? Why not make a box with the female symbol so females can have their box, and then you have a they symbol? Let's create a they symbol.
That's way more expensive than just taking off the symbol.
I mean,
a designer? Is it expensive?
To have two different
But
boxes.
make it into a marketing campaign. Let's social media is huge. Let's say, hey, we're looking for a they symbol. Create something. Create some sort of campaign, and then everyone has their boxes.
I could see that.
All right. Smith from Facebook says, my goodness, I'm all for inclusiveness, but this is ridiculous. And Smith, I think you speak for a lot of people, and I think that's something that every movement has to take into account. Is like there are certain people that will support your movement, but if they feel like it's going too far, you could lose people that would normally be advocates. Now, I'm not saying don't push your agenda because you're worried about the people that you will lose, but it is something to think about. As for this company, we've seen companies like Gillette make a push to be more socially progressive. It is a marketing campaign, not like any other, just like any other one. So what I think they're doing is maybe doing a little bit of addition by subtraction, meaning you subtract the symbol and you add more people that are down with the progressive movement. So I think that's what we might be looking at.
Well, Freddie from YouTube says, I think the real win here is that they always can expand their brand to cater to both sides. They have a line especially for teens. So just add the more inclusive design to some of the products to appeal to all customers, similar to what Brandon was saying. Real quick, I think we're missing a little point here. The people that are coming up to buying these products don't consider gender very binary. The new millennials don't do that. I think they're thinking ahead of their audience coming up, and they're trying to get ahead of it. So I think it's a marketing tool, and I like it. Coming up on DBL, Kentucky police have 5 unsolved murders on their hands. Could they all be related? A closer look next in True Crime Chronicles.
If you're between the age of 55 and 80, the facts about
So
I look right
Kyle
over
Baxter is saying that was a close call, talking about that Phoenix accident. It really was close. It's dangerous when you're driving so fast, so maybe you should just go the speed limit. You know, even if he wasn't drunk, that was really fast driving. George Diaz says buying that parking spot lets everyone know that you're a sucker. Because I think that one of us said that you want everybody to know by your ego that you have this nice spot in front of the building, paid $1 million for it. But I don't know if it looks smart to everybody. To me, I wouldn't waste the money. Let's see what else.
Yeah, he wrote, Jason Anderson wrote us, John, too, and said, ask Steph if the insane prices paid for license plate names is still going on in the UK. And was huge when I was over there. Then you spoke up and he said exactly what I was talking about. So maybe it's not just Dubai, it's the UK that does that with the license plate.
Yeah, and I think it's in the Emirates. It's different than
like UAE and stuff.
So it's in the different Emirates. They have their own. I don't think it's only in Dubai, but I just noticed it when I was there and it was a fun game.
So weird. By the way, also, binary just means that gender isn't male or female. I want to clear that up. It is kind of a weird new word. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Welcome back to DBL. Bardstown, Kentucky. Looks like your picture-perfect small town, but under the surface, there's something much darker. It's the site of 5 murders over 3 years, all unresolved. The disturbing mystery is the subject of Vault Studios' podcast, Bardstown. We have the exclusive look in today's True Crime Chronicles.
Welcome to Bardstown, Kentucky, where welcome signs call it the most beautiful small town in America.
I'm Shay McAllister. I'm a reporter at WHAS 11 in Louisville. I want to tell you a story about a town in Kentucky, a beautiful, close-knit town where some truly horrible things have happened.
Horrible and gruesome murders that are being brought to light in a podcast called Bardstown, with the work from investigative journalists Shay McAllister and Jessica Knoll.
A police officer with a wife and 2 young sons, a teacher and her teenage daughter, a 35-year-old mother, and 18 months later, her father. 4 of them murdered, 1 of them missing, considered dead.
Who is responsible for this history of violence?
Not everyone wants to talk about it. A lot of people would rather forget.
The mystery began in May 2013.
139 Adam dispatch on scene. 139, have you on scene, 1737.
Bardstown police officer Jason Ellis dies in a brutal attack.
The culprit had deliberately placed tree limbs across the roadway, and when the officer got out to clear the debris, he was shot and killed.
No suspects and no answers. Less than a year later, another mystery.
48-year-old Kathy Netherland doesn't show up for work.
The Bardstown elementary special ed teacher and her teenage daughter, Samantha, were found dead in their home. A gruesome murder. Again, no answers. 15 months later, Crystal Rogers vanishes. In November 2016, another death. Crystal's father dies. 4 murders, 1 missing person. With few clues or leads, Jessica and Shay visit the one person who's named a suspect, Crystal's boyfriend, Brooks.
We're about 1 mile from Brooks' house.
What did he tell them? And is he responsible?
It's no secret in this town community that I've been named the suspect.
Earlier, we spoke with the hosts of the podcast Bardstown to get a sneak peek of the final episode. Take a look. We're joined now by investigative journalists Shay McAllister and Jessica Knoll at our sister station, WHAS in Louisville, Kentucky. Now, we just heard a tease of the Bardstown podcast. The final episode is out today, but first, we have to know, are there any new leads in the cases? And I want to know what you think. Are any of these cases connected according to you?
Well, when it comes to new leads in any of these cases, we really just don't know. Police tell us they get new tips every single day, but they don't tell us what they are, and honestly, we probably won't know until there's any arrests. When it comes to connections, all of these cases are connected. For one thing, they're all from Bardstown. All of these victims are from Bardstown.
Your 10th and final episode is out today. Can you give us a tease of just like what people can expect?
We actually take the 10th episode as an opportunity for Shay and I to talk to our executive producer, Will Johnson, to discuss some of those theories, to answer some of those questions that listeners had, and kind of wrap it all up and what, you know, is going on in Bardstown and what people are thinking and what they're saying.
Wow. And this podcast is produced by Vault Studios with the help of Tegna. It's one of the most listened to crime series. So how did you guys come across these stories, and why do you want to tell them?
So it all started for me back in 2013 when Jason Ellis was killed. I was working for a TV station in Cincinnati, and that's when I started investigating his case. He was actually from Cincinnati, so that's where my interest was in that particular story. And then Shay came in to WHAS here in Louisville and started investigating the Crystal Rogers disappearance.
Yeah, 2015, the same week that I moved to Louisville, Crystal Rogers disappeared. So I followed the case for the last 4 years. And earlier this year, Tegna, our parent company, told us that they wanted a great idea for a podcast. And so I submitted this idea thinking what could be better, these crazy cases, this one small town. And Jessica was working for Tegna and producing podcasts, knew about the cases because of her involvement, and really fought for it to be the one they picked, and we partnered up to do it.
Well, I'm really glad you guys are taking the time to push, because I know a lot of these cases, no one's there to give the publicity that the parents and the town so desperately need. So be proud of yourselves for keeping up this in the publicity. We will too. We want to say thank you, Jessica and Shay. Now, to hear the final episode or listen to the entire podcast series, visit bardstownpodcast.com. Again, great work, ladies. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Attention.
Today, we will honor and remember Representative Elijah Cummings as he lies in state at the U.S. Capitol. This morning, his family held a memorial service to honor his legacy. Now, Cummings served for 23 years as congressman before he died last week from complications related to health issues he had been dealing with for a while. He was just 68 years old. Frustrations are growing today in California because the state's largest utility company just started another round of intentional power cuts. The problem? PG&E is worried about faulty equipment that could spark wildfires. So they're turning off power to more than 150,000 customers, making it the second time this month that the company has done this. DBL Nation, if you live in California, what are you doing about this? And some good news for all of us today. The House just passed a bill that makes animal cruelty a federal felony. It's called the PACT Act and stands for Preventing Animal Cruelty and Torture. Now, it will allow authorities to go after people who hurt animals because they will have federal jurisdiction and won't be stopped by any state laws. DBL Nation, I say this is a win for all of us. This has been Fast Blast for you. Make sure you tune in for our entertainment edition of Fast Blast with Raquel Villanueva later today. Bye now.
Welcome back to DBL. You know what's been missing in my life? Lindsay Lohan dancing. Oh, wait, here. Remember this video of her dancing at her Mykonos beach club? We all remember this hair flip? Well, now Lilo is taking her moves to a new dance floor at a gas station. She posted this video to Instagram showing her grooving and walking beside a moving car.
And cursing?
Seems like she's living her best life. Who is in the car makes me worried. So
Tori, I need you to recreate this dance. I know you got the move.
Get her, Tori.
Get it, Tori.
Let's go, Tori.
No?
Okay.
There we go, Tori. Let's go. Car's moving. The car's moving.
There you go.
Is that good? What? Is that good?
Hey.
It was more than cha-cha. There you go.
That was good.